Welcome to day one's competition at the 2023 NXL Lone Star Major. We're here in Austin, Texas. I'm Matty Marshall alongside Rich Telford. To start out this battle, it's going to be San Antonio X Factor taking on NRG Elite and San Diego Aftermath taking on the Latin Saints. So many compelling stories evolving and changing out here in the second event of the year. X Factor finishing 5th overall at the first event. Got a chance to talk to Colt Roberts, some of the boys from that team there. Very, very hyped for this one. They feel like they have a decent chance to win this tournament and get back on the board with the big W. I think they got a chance too. NRG Elite has been improving though, Rich. They've looked really good. They've made some Sundays. I really like that starting lineup. And then also in this set with Aftermath and the Saints, both on a rebuild. So yeah, some compelling narratives.
Yeah, kicking
things off at day one. Yeah. What do you think about this NRG Elite X Factor match?
Well, obviously X Factor, right? Much farther along in the development. I think, though, NRG did something a little differently this event. They practiced against themselves. Like most teams like to practice against other guys, but they practiced against themselves. So I'm really interested to see if that helped them develop better or different game plans than everybody else. So in that match, that's kind of the story I'm watching.
Yep.
And also, where's NRG on their development, right?
I heard, so when I talked to X Factor guys and heard some people that played against them, they played really well in practice. They seem to have
really
this,
good at paintball.
Yeah, they seem to have this field dialed. And let's talk about this field a little bit. Obviously, you coach in New York Extreme. Congratulations on the top 4 at the first event.
Thank you very much.
We always joke about Rich Telford's dark horses, but people were asking me, hey, give me a legit dark horse to win this tournament. And I said, you know what, New York Extreme.
Wow.
If they can get it together and play as cohesively as they did at that first event with the big chip on their shoulder and the fire that we saw in an unconventional layout, I think they got a chance.
I think they have a chance too. It's just, can they come out and do that again? Like, obviously at some point we're going to get there, right? Is it going to be this event? Or is it going to be the next event? Is it going to be 2 years from now? It's up to the guys to kind of figure that out, and how much intensity and how much fire they can bring to this.
We will see them at 11 o'clock taking on the ML Kings. But I wouldn't call X Factor a dark horse, but this is a regular stock field, man. If you look up a normal paintball field in the dictionary, you're going to see something that kind of looks like this. Other than the fact that there is no back bunker on the snake side out wide. Other than that, it's about it. Snake's makeable. There's going to be some chaos in the center with the big bricks. The D side, it can be very productive over there. You got a huge gap though.
Try to get across. In Texas too.
They definitely do. Not quite a hometown event as they are kind of spread out, but they got some Austin guys here. So
close enough.
Close enough.
They'll definitely have some fans.
Texas, a mecca of paintball. We see the boys from San Antonio X Factor. They're on your screen in the blue and the black, about to get things kicked off
Can't wait
here.
To watch. Sorry, Billy Bernacci in the snake.
Yeah, Billy is a legend in that snake position. It's the really long set of bunkers, and it is a dominant position. This snake, you can be very productive from it. It runs essentially the length of the field, but you're probably going to have an enemy in there with you. If you see a player get in there by himself, then you're going to have a real big chance to steal the point from the snake side. But yeah, talk to me about just the themes you saw that were consistently prevalent on this layout.
So we practice against Dynasty, the best team in the world, and usually when they're doing things, it has a lot of merit, right? Mm-hmm. And the play that they were most successful with was 3 guys snake side, 1 guy in the middle, 1 guy D side. They had 2 guys in the back, kind of support the first snake guy. The first snake guy goes through, gets the kills. The second 2 guys support that guy. The middle, there are some options up the middle, and if you can get up the middle undetected, Matty, you can shoot a bunch of people. But most people see them when they go up the middle. And then the Dorito side, it can be really fast if nobody's looking, right? But any one guy on the snake side shooting that cross gap can really slow that field down. So it's actually a really technical field. It's a lot more technical than the last one we played, where everyone played it the exact same way. I think it's going to start off a little bit fast, and then I think it's going to slow down by Saturday, because again, there's just some really big lanes out there.
Yeah, always the development and the strategy and the tactics on the layout progresses throughout the event. Day one, typically a little bit faster, as you only have 1 weekend on this layout to figure it out.
I feel like no one's where we usually are at this point. Like everyone's having those conversations that they would be having on the second weekend. Last night in those meetings,
and also with one less weekend, traditionally past couple of years you've had 2 layout weekends, now just 1. But I saw some pro teams practicing for 4 hours yesterday.
So the top pro teams are really, really smart, right? They got all the low teams, all the middle pack teams to be like, hey, we'll take a weekend off and save some money. And all the pro teams are flying their guys in now and practicing 7-8 days in a row and giving themselves a huge advantage.
So NRG Elite Going to be taking on San Antonio X Factor here in point number 1. NRG Elite, also interesting story for them too. Been around for a couple years. They made first Sunday, but taken 10th, losing in the wild card. But Rich, they really started to get some production. You know,
they made a couple
their
of
coach.
pickups.
Yeah, they really only run about 7 guys.
Yeah.
But man, those 7 guys have started to become very lethal. Elliott Weaver has become a beast. Travis Trawick has become very consistent. We'll see Trawick probably on that D side mostly. Buffton in the back as that second attacker, third attacker. He's been very consistent as well. And then Bowen's a bowling ball out there. They're getting a pretty deep roster as far as their starting 5-6 is concerned.
Well, and the difference between the two teams, right, is X Factor, a bunch of superstars, only practice together and play together kind of on those layout weekends or specific weekends throughout the year. NRG guys play every single weekend are playing together, right? So they have that cohesion and it allows them to play above their ability because they play together so much, right? They can go out and compete with a team like X Factor with 5 or 6 superstars in their lineup and kind of be at a close to an even keel just because they spend so much more time playing together and their teamwork is better because of it.
Yeah, time behind the gun's important, right? And with X Factor,
the most important.
Yeah, they also, past couple seasons, or last year specifically, had to do a little bit of tinkering with their roster. They've been rotating some guys through. They had big pickup in the offseason after losing Rainey Stanzik in this offseason, and then Archie Montemayor the year before. They got Jesse Stevens back, Cody Minkowski from Infamous. Meter's been holding it down from TJ Danner's back and healthy.
It's so funny when you see a guy like Cody who's been Infamous and you just are used to seeing him in Infamous jersey. You see him in X Factor jersey, you're like, who's that? You're like, oh, that's right, it's Cody.
So it looks like first body to drop is going to be from San Antonio X Factor. Meteor Nino's taking the walk from the backfield.
Yeah,
don't see Meter die early often.
No, and he got shot out of that yellow can over there, which is the spot can. They're our insurance company that's helping us out here with the league. Billy Minacci is calling the cross shot on the small Dorito from that first snake beam. Matt, he can shoot across and put a lot of pressure on those Doritos guys inside.
Yeah, both teams with a player in that, call that snake 1. It's not quite in the snake, but essentially it's snake 1. That's the safest place to be.
Or snake corner.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. There is no
both said that last night in the meeting. I'm like, that's actually a good read. That is the snake corner.
X Factor now with 2 bodies on that D side, getting outside into D2. Small Dorito on the outside, and TJ Danner into D1. So looking pretty good, though, even losing Meter. But also, NRG Elite looking pretty good right now, too. 5 bodies alive, so it's 5-on-4 in favor of NRG Elite, Rich.
And we were talking earlier about the field, Matty. The wing here on the snake side, some of the teams are using that as a defensive position to keep the snake from going forward. And right now, the guy in the wing for NRG is keeping Billy Bernacci from going outside and going down. He's got someone else shooting the inside cut, so he can't go forward from that lay-down beam in snake 1 or snake corner.
Well, one of the big pickups for NRG Elite in the offseason was getting Betancourt, Louis Betancourt, a.k.a. Chewy. And he plays real good when he's playing on his toes and trying to force the issue. Absolutely. So look to see Betancourt to get here into the snake quickly, still kind of in that, the back snake bunker.
So this is our first point.
Yep.
Already a little long today, and I was just going to be like, oh my God, because everyone's walking around the field. That's going to be so fast. It's going to be so fast. I was like, I don't think so.
Well, when we first looked at this layout, when it dropped with no back bunker on the snake side, NRG Elite losing the body from that wedge that Rich was just talking about. So now it's going to be 4-on-4, which could elongate this point a little bit. Heading out to the spot bunker, Buffton going to back up Betancourt. Betancourt's popping the top right now, looking like he wants to move up.
That's bold.
X Factor tries to pick him up as he gets into Snake 2.
Want to call it Snake 2?
Yeah, let's just call it Snake 2. We got to find a good name for that little mini wall on the outside, because that bunker's going to be hot all weekend.
Oh yeah, for sure. That bunker right there and the what we call the 20, which is the second big Dorito on the other side. Those 2 guys on the cut that you see right there can control the whole field.
Yeah, we're looking over the shoulders right now. San Antonio X Factor with Minkowski at the spot bunker. And here comes Betancourt. So this is when he thrives, is when he is pushing forward. And so 4-on-4, he's at the 50-yard line here. Snake side looking cross field. There's our eye in the sky look. NRG Elite from the red side. San Antonio X Factor from the blue side. Yeah, long point here, Rich.
Yeah, good communication, good back and forth. And NRG has a little bit more penetration on the D side. They've got that D3 over there. X Factor's a little bit back farther, but both teams are really kind of playing a slow, methodical game here, Matt. Neither team are looking to really, Betancourt could have gotten to Billy Snake, but he didn't. He came back. They could cross that 50 and go into the Doritos on the other side. But everyone, is playing kind of slow and smart because they don't want to lose that first point, because if you're right, Matty, if you're right and this field is going to slow down, when a team goes up 1 or 2 points in the beginning of a match, it's almost like you're drowning.
It's
like,
huge.
oh my God, the water's just getting deeper and colder and deeper and colder, and I can't get my head above water.
And there's sharks out there.
Because if you put that where Billy is right now on that cut, Dorito side, you put that tower next to him on that same cut, and you put the Dorito on the other side, inside cut.
You're not moving.
You could
up
have
on that.
70 or 80 players down here that were really good at paintball, and none of them are getting up the field unless those guys run out of paint.
And you know, we say this every time when we have slower fields, is that points come at a premium, and every point's more important. If you're playing 9 points out there, each
you
point
can make some
doesn't-
mistakes.
Yeah, because point spread is important, but ultimately you just got to win the game.
Yeah.
But if you don't have that many opportunities to score points and you go down a few quick, then it can become problematic. Right now, Billy Bernaccia is going to fight his way, and here comes TJ Danner. He's going to be moving up on the D side as well.
Yeah, when it's a 3-point match, every little mistake is huge.
And here comes
TJ going forward over there.
Yeah, Parrish is now.
Parrish, there he goes.
Off to the races.
And it gets the penalty.
Oh, penalty assessed here on San Antonio X Factor. Is it a red or is it a yellow? It looks like it's going to be
red.
A major penalty assessed on Parrish. That's going to open the door here for NRG Elite in point number 1.
Yeah, Parrish, strong player for Ironman and for X Factor, but a few little like that. Getting that penalty in that first point and getting a major, that's a big ouch.
Yeah, and it looked
I would
like
expect more out of him.
Well, they had control over there, right?
100%.
You know, so he was at the 50, saw the move, went and made it. I didn't see where he got hit. I was on the opposite side of the field. TJ right behind him, but yeah, drawing that major penalty, and that was, that cost him. Definitely cost X Factor that first point because it looked like, Betancourt was over here, but with the control on that D side with TJ right behind him, one bunker behind him.
And it's another thing if it's a 4-on-1 or 3-on-1, you're like, hey, I tried to make a big move to win this point for us because we were going to lose it for sure. But when it's a 4-on-4, you've got field position, you got Billy Bernaccia and Markowski over here in the snake. You're good.
All right, so jumping in, point number 1 here, San Diego Aftermath, Latin Saints. Both these teams doing a bit of a rebuild, different stories, but on the breakout, looks like
I like that
5-on-5 break.
Yeah.
Both squads. A little bit better field position for the Saints, though, Rich.
Aftermath pockets up, and that's their. That's one of the questions we have to ask here early in the day. Is can we get outside on both tapes, or is it better to pocket up? Is there one tape we can get in on and pocket out on the other side? And Aftermath is helping us answer that question. They did not shoot anyone on the break, and they stayed in the pocket, and that's the risk, right? If you stay in the pocket and you don't shoot anybody on the break, you put yourself at a little bit of a disadvantage.
Aftermath eventually getting out into the insert bunker with Morris, but playing the aggressors here on both sides of the field. Does look like the Saints, though, maybe a little slip and fall, trying to get outside into D2. He's going to take the walk, so 4-on-5 situation in favor of Aftermath, and then Aftermath also slips and falls and gets cut in half as he tries to get up to the stand.
Apparently it's slippery out there, Matt.
A little bit. So 4-on-4 now. Better field position for the Saints, though, as they have a body into Snake 2.
Yeah, and you can kind of see, Matty, this 3-man over here.
Yeah.
The one guy in the can over there is the island, right? And you're going to see a lot of that this weekend.
A lot of 3 Snake way.
Yeah.
Oh, body dropping 4. It's a bad death.
3-on-5.
Here for the
3-on-4.
Saints, dying out of his spot as another body tries to get back, and he gets torched on a little tactical retreat. So very quickly, it's down to just 3 bodies out there, or 2 bodies out there for the Saints.
2-on-4 advantage for Aftermath.
Aftermath didn't need to do much. They just got a couple kills,
Sit there and shoot your
gunfight
guns.
wins.
Saints do have that Dorito corner, and that Dorito corner is a really strong corner, but they lose their snake guy now, so it's a 1-on-4. Might want to think about conceding this point, saving some paintballs.
Yeah, it was Portman in the snake.
some
He's going to
lumps.
take the walk, and then here comes that last kill for Aftermath, and they're going to get a pretty easy first point here. Didn't need to do anything spectacular, just some solid paintball. Gunfight wins.
And what I like about Aftermath there is they gave no reads, right? They played the pocket, so you can't scout them, right? That didn't help you at all.
Mm-hmm.
And they were able to get outside after playing the pocket, which means they don't have to risk anybody on the break, and they can still make the key positions, and that's a real good feeling after winning that first point.
Didn't really show their hand with any sort of play. It was a pretty it was very conservative play.
Very mature, conservative play for a young and up-and-coming team. Good coaching staff over there.
Yeah, it's an interesting story with Aftermath. They're out of ASG, a little outside of LA in Southern California, and going with mostly some homegrown talent. And Southern California has been a hotbed and a mecca of paintball for generations. And they have some scrappy guys on that squad, so just not a ton of high-level experience over there. That's the issue, and the question to be answered for Aftermath is, are they prepared to contend at this level? And heading into point number 2, Going to double up that back center here for both teams, actually.
X Factor with a big bite on the D side, taking the baby Dorito over there, Matt. Now going from that baby Dorito into Dorito 3.
Jesse
Secondary
Stevens.
to the snake side, sorry.
Yeah, Jesse Stevens is going to try to fight his way into the snake, but X Factor's already into D3, and so is NRG Elite. So it's mirrored up on the D side.
Yeah. And I think that's probably more Betancourt style play over there than Doritos than over here on the snake side.
Well, right now, you talked about this, just talked about it, Rich. There's 4 bodies from the center on over to the snake and just 1 on the D side here for X Factor.
And guess how many times we're going to see that this weekend?
Probably a lot.
You can start naming the bunkers. This is hot. This is going to be hot. This is going to be hot. This is going to be hot.
TJ Danner is starting to fill out, though, towards that D side. Got out from the back center, slides into the stand-up can. Colt Roberts going to be cleaning his gun a little bit.
Core sample.
Did he core sample?
Yeah. You can see the big divot right behind him where he core sampled.
So he's got Jesse Stevens in front of him, but Betancourt, again, is going to play the aggressor here, be the first to go on the snake side.
Yep.
Got out of that insert, gets into snake 2, and he's looking cross field.
A lot of penetration for both of these teams on the Doritos. And if that guy can just get over there and stay alive, Matt, then that can allow that team to have 1 guy stay in the middle as the pivot and 3 guys to push to the snake side.
NRG Elite filters up to the wedge.
Interesting.
Ooh, losing Tom Guest.
Yeah, and so X Factor's playing that bunker a little differently. Most people play that power tower on the D side. He was playing on the snake side cots. So that's interesting, but Betancourt was able to easily eliminate him out of there.
Yeah, and we don't see Tom die much out of his spot. His stock and trade is being a big gun and a survivor.
Yeah.
And then attacking up the center typically.
Betancourt with bad death.
They eat up Betancourt. Yeah, that's bad death for Chewy.
Especially now, Matt, they've got 2 on 1 situation over here. And now, so if X Factor just goes forward and just does the math game, right? The first guy goes and trades with the other guy. The second guy goes through and wins that game. They messed up by not containing that back center. They let Buffton fill out. That was a mistake.
Jesse, intelligently here, not feeling pressure from in front of him, sees Chewy walk off, and he hits the deck and crawls up to the 50. So X Factor in a good spot right now, Rich. They got Colt Roberts behind Jesse Stevens.
Yeah, the shot for wow, Jesse's got a big rub spot on the back of his shoulder. Looks just like a hit. But the shot for Jesse is not on the inside, Matt. It's wrapping from the outside and putting pressure on the God and the wet yellow can because he pushes those guys into the guns on that side.
He can keep the outside contained over here.
Perfect.
There's no one farther out wide on this paintball field right now than Jesse Stevens.
Yeah.
So got to be worried about those inside angles, too. There are a lot of them in the snake, but there's only that 1 body in D3 that he needs to worry about from that angle, and now he's going to be able to get up. It's blocked out from the pin. Can't shoot D3 from this position, but he is protected. So he's going to have a nice little angle to hit the deck and continue his attack. Colt Roberts is going to filter up behind him. NRG Elite loses Trowick out of that can, and they're going to be losing another body as Bowen takes the walk from D3. Trying to do a little damage control. Weaver comes up and stitches up Jesse. That was a
move by
beautiful.
Weaver.
Yeah, that was great.
I was just going to criticize him because he was in that temple looking across the field with somebody right in front of him. I'm like, he's not playing that right at all. But when he figured out what's going on, he should have played it right.
Yeah, Cole either was looking at a different angle or didn't have the angle to protect him from
the vision is
Weaver's
horrible
move
out
inside.
Matt.
Yeah.
So in the practice last weekend, teams would sometimes shoot 1 or 2 off the snake side and not know that they shot him.
Look at this, though. Weaver eating people up right now. A little 2-pack of kills for Elliott Weaver. He dunked on Jesse and then gets the nice crossfield kill here. And now he's pushing up the field. So has to worry about Colt Roberts. And he's going to run.
Love it.
Got to be careful not to get a penalty there.
Colt
Looks like it's going to be clean. No penalty assessed, but that's a 3-pack of kills to keep NRG Elite in this one right now with just 6 minutes and 38 seconds left to go. Up by 1. Buffton's still alive. 1-on-1 right now?
Yep. And when we talk about up-and-coming teams like NRG level, oftentimes it's guys like Weaver, their number 2s, that are really stepping up for those teams and clocking in point after point and really supporting their 1s well.
Yeah, the 2s, we talk about the 1s a lot, and we have to because they're the ones in, kind of setting the tempo and the pace of the game, but a lot of times the 2s are what win or lose you tournaments. TJ Danner and Austin Buffton locked into a 1-on-1 right now. Got a Hormesis coin dual coin, special red and gold ones just for instances like this in the big tournaments. TJ Danner is a master at 1-on-1s. Buffton's pretty good at these too. Oh, and it looks like TJ Danner going to prevail here in the 1-on-1. So TJ got another coin for you. He's won a couple of those already. And he's going to tie this game up here for X Factor.
So 5-minute points? Is that about what we're thinking about?
That's what it's looking like.
About 5-minute swings, guys?
Hey, again, I don't really care how long the points are as long as stuff is happening.
As long as it's entertaining.
Yeah, as long as moves are being made. So we are seeing, for the most part, guys trying to make something happen and progress up the field. And You know, not just like getting to one spot, bringing 15 pods, and just shooting lanes
Like we would. No, I'm good, Matt.
Old and broken, bro. I
good.
can't be diving into any snakes anymore. So.
Yeah, you were kind of like the mouse of our generation, right? 6 foot dude in the snake.
For a couple years.
Ridiculously good looking.
I was never that fast, though.
I wasn't going to say that,
a lot faster
bro.
than I am now.
I wasn't going to say that.
A lot faster than you. Say that.
Shut up. I bet I can throw you off this faster than you can throw me off this.
Never even. You definitely could throw me off this.
What is that over there?
If I can run away from you, you ain't catching me. That's for damn sure.
I wouldn't even try, bro. Take one step and be, whatever. Matt, I've got a beer. Matt. And he's back.
Ooh, heavy guns up
Again,
right
pocket,
now.
right?
Aftermath essentially went with almost pretty much 5 guns up.
Pocket, right? Pocket, pocket.
Another, that's 2 pocket plays in a row. So yeah, if you're
Smart.
scouting them, they're really not risking much. They keep 5 bodies alive, 2 points in a row. They didn't shoot anybody.
So I was going to say the only caveat to that is if you're going to pocket up, you really got to make those. It's almost like playing defense, right?
Yeah.
You've got to make your shot.
Yeah, we say it all the time. You're going to play it, and you're going to hear me say it a bunch this weekend if this is going to be a slow-playing field. You play defense, you need to make your shots, and they did not. So it's 5-on-5. They allow the Saints to get out wide to this insert bunker.
Is it fair to say that every time you say that, someone should drink?
There's all sorts of webcast drinking games these days. I don't even know what all the rules are.
Well, I mean, if you're going to play defense, you've got to make your spots, and you've got to make your shots. So, yeah, Aftermath is, they lost their first guy. That's so bad. If that guy just stays alive in that Dorito, it's 5-on-5. You're in position, and you're up a point on a super defensive field. Like, you've made it really easy for yourself. All you've got to do is stay alive, which the other 4 guys in Aftermath seem to understand.
Well, repositioning a little bit here. As Saints get into the snake.
So they got into it last time. They weren't able to produce anything out of it, Matt. We'll see if they can produce something out of it this time. They're in a great position to protect him in that wing right inside. Now, you're going to see some of those teams play that wing and protect their snake guy, and you're going to see some teams not play that and not protect their snake guy. It will be interesting to see which of those ends up working out the best for the teams.
5-on-4 advantage currently here for the Latin Saints. They're also in good field position with this body here on your screen. He's at the 50-yard line, looking inside. Aftermath not giving him much.
Nope.
Playing real tight here for 4 bodies for Aftermath, just kind of watching zones.
And that's one of the things that we talked about from New York is because the guy can sneak into the snake mat and because you don't really know where he's at in there, you kind of always got to play like the snake is hot, kind of like we used to.
Mm-hmm.
And CJ had a really good comment, like the team that wins this event probably is not going to lose a couple bodies to that sneaky guy in the snake, right?
Oh,
They're going to play so tight that snake guy doesn't get those extra bodies here and there. And I thought that was a really good point. Play like it's hot.
Again, this is just standard paintball field, man. You really got to play that traditional brand of paintball like Rich is talking about. And if you don't absolutely 100% know that snake doesn't contain a body, then yes, you need to play like it's hot because it runs the entire length of the field pretty much.
Well, and you can see that Aftermath and the Saints understand that, right? They've got the big wing in the inside, shutting down and protecting their snake guy, controlling the side of the field.
Some good communication here from the Saints.
Yeah, Saints owe 2 bodies over there on the D side now, Maddie, so it looks like they might be looking to attack over there.
Yeah, they have this one point deficit, so they are going to have to attack eventually.
Well, these are going to be 3-point matches at 5 points, 5 minutes per point, so they've got plenty of time.
Yeah, I'd be taking the under if I was a betting man.
It's funny, too, because you get the map on Wednesday, and you look at the map, and you're like, you can't really tell just by looking at the map. But as soon as you walk the field, you're like, oh, wow, this is a big lane. You could drive a truck through this lane. Oh, there's another big lane you could drive a truck through. Well, hopefully there's not anything on the other side of the field. Oh, there's 3 lanes you could drive a truck through.
Yeah, so
understanding and manipulating those lanes is going to be crucial.
Controlling the lanes. Talk about those specific lanes. Obviously, D side. It looks like tough.
The wing shoots that guy out.
Ramirez with a real bad death here from the Saints, out of the 50-yard line. I mean, we have still 9 minutes and 40 seconds to work with. You're in the most important position on the field. You're up a body. That's a tough death.
Yeah, and that's good coaching, having that guy in that position to catch Ramirez there, right? That's the only guy who stops that guy from the 50 wrapping around.
The wedge.
Those guys, the wedge, yeah.
So talk about these lanes real quick. Talk the D side lane.
The D side lane, if you're in the snake one or the snake corner, and you look in front of that wing between that and the pin, you see all the way between the tower and the Doritos.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a gap over there that's about 70, 80 feet wide, right? The tower that's inside has that same gap, but 1 Dorito in front of that gap. And then the laydown over here has the gap in front of those Doritos on the cross. Yeah. That keeps the guys from going from the first Dorito into the second, third, and fourth Dorito.
And it just makes it harder for offensive moves when you have to get through those giant chasm-like gaps.
It's either you have to have perfect timing, perfect teamwork, or you get lucky, right? Saints drop another body.
So, yeah, now down to just 3 bodies. Had a 1-body advantage for a little bit here.
And field position advantage.
Yeah.
But on both tapes.
Couple tough deaths. Does look like Aftermath's running out of paint, though. Saw the player at the wedge just chuck a pod over to their outside body here in the insert bunker.
And now he's looking for He's like, oh, that was my last clip. Damn it.
Wait a second. I gave him my last
Hey, throw that back here, man.
Can you just take half and throw me back the other bar?
Yeah. I love it, too, when you throw it back to the guy who's hiding behind you. You're like, I'm shooting my gun. I need the paint. You're hiding, and you're asking for it. It's very frustrating. Look at Aftermath. 3 bodies right there in that little 3 position, and they don't care about going anywhere, right? They're up a point, they're up a body. All they have to do now is not make a mistake and just keep applying pressure to the Saints, force the Saints to make a mistake, easily win the 2nd point. Now they're going to go into their 3rd point up by 2 with not much time left on the clock and put themselves in a very, very good position to win this first match.
Yeah. If you're Woodruff, coach of the Saints right now, you really want these guys to pull this one out. You're up a body, you're up a point, you got a bunch of time to work with. I mean, they'll be totally content to sit here and let 7 minutes go by and win this game 0-1. Now, 100%. If you're the Saints, you can't let that happen. So the 3 are eventually going to have to push in to the 4.
If they understand that, right? The Saints are the least experienced team in the league, right? And roster's kind of constantly changing. So although they may know what they're supposed to do, they might not be able to execute it, right? Mm-hmm. Which is like the most frustrating thing in paintball, understanding what you're supposed to do and not knowing how to do it.
Well, that's where the Saints are at right now. You know, last event was pretty brutal I mean, it's the most competitive that Pro Paintball's ever been. Oh, look at this.
Oh, that's a
Morris with the little John Wick one-hander here on the run-through. And that's going to pull out that body, and then Saints trying to do a desperation run. They still had 1 body left alive, but he tried his own desperation run, chest up down the D side. He got shot as well, too. So, yeah, nice little close here for San Diego Aftermath. Should be able to go up 2 referees checking out one of their players on the wedge. Let's see. Oh, they're going to pull him out.
Top of his head, lucky to get a penalty there. Yeah, headshots usually count.
They have 3, so even if he drew a minor, I was going to say, I'm shocked that he didn't get a penalty.
I was too.
Absolutely shocked. But penalty was assessed, so there's just going to be 1 body left alive.
Explain the difference between a minor and major, please.
So minor penalty, a yellow flag will be thrown by the referee, and that's going to pull out 1 more body. Major penalties, a red flag. It's when you get hit and influence the game, continue to push forward. We got a couple replays here. Ooh, little pod. Oh, he's doing the pod trick right now. He's got 1. Looks like another one. He's trying to do it again. And no one biting on the trap he's trying to set, and then he gets caught popping the top. Yeah, that's a tough death right there. So there's a pod toss, but that's for a reload. And then here comes the one-handed run through there. It was clean, though. He got him. Not the prettiest run through looking, but it's all right.
If you're at home watching,
it just needs to work, right?
Yeah, it just needs to work. If you're at home watching and you're wondering what to practice your gunfighting more than you practice throwing pods and hoping somebody will do something. Spend less
he's
time
getting
doing
creative
that.
out there.
Yeah, no, not him. I'm not saying him.
I'm just
saying in general.
Last 2 seasons ago, whatever, it was a little while ago, but everyone watched that Joe Barrett suckering Ryan Greenspan with the throw the pod trick, and since then, everyone's been throwing pods.
Yeah. That's the exception, not the rule, guys. Ooh, look at NRG with a pretty conservative breakout, Matty. 4 in the back center, 1 to the God, the insert bunker in front of the snake. X Factor, similar breakout, but they do go to the first Dorito. A lot of teams doubling up that back center, Matt.
I think we're going to see a steady dose of that all day today.
The problem is that if you double up the back center and you lose either one of those cans, and their back center is a disciplined guy, it's real hard to get out of that back center and get to that can.
Yeah. Well, it will evolve. It always does.
Yep.
But that doubling up's not really catching it. We're not really watching a lot of bodies drop off the break.
Nope.
Ooh. But kind of quickly, after the first 20 seconds or so, NRG Elite taking the walk here from the Snake Side Aztec.
I like Cody in that wing right there controlling Snake Side. He's in that wing totally controlling everyone on the Snake Side of the field. And now they can't fill out this way because Cody gets the fill, and that allows Billy and whoever else is in front of Billy to attack Snake Side.
Well, after losing a body Snake Side, NRG Elite sends 2 more bodies flooding towards the D side. So we got Trowwick and Buffton moving over there.
Well, and that's the rub, right? If you're one of those teams that's running 3, NRG dropping that body over there, that hurts. But if you're one of those teams that has the 3 bodies attacking Snake Side and you can't get in the Snake, that leaves your guys Dorito side way down on bodies in position.
Well, X Factor, after dropping that first point, looking pretty solid here in these next 2 as they've been chopping up bodies. This is 5-on-2 now, and that's going to force a pretty quick concession here from NRG Elite. So 2 unanswered here from San Antonio X Factor with 4 minutes and 25 seconds left to go. You know, talking to Ryan Brand about, hey, how's the team looking, how the practices go, he's like, man, we didn't really face much adversity at all, to be honest, in practice. And it's tough because it sounds great. Oh, everything's working.
It's fun.
But
it's fun.
It's fun, makes the meetings nice, but the problem is that if no one's punching you in the face, and metaphorically, in practice, you don't really have a lot to fix. And not a lot to fix means when the problem presents itself,
you got to learn
in the important
the
games. Now you got to learn in real time here at the event. So after a little bit of a struggle because of that penalty, you know, they picked it right back up and they're looking pretty good. Speaking of Ryan Brand, there he is, best hair in the game
by far. It's not even a contest.
I think he actually got a little trim. It's looking a little shorter than it normally does. So right now, Aftermath with a 2-point lead here on the Saints.
Big bite snake on the break with Aftermath. Big little change up there, Matty.
So before that, the death started coming that last one. I was saying that, you know, it was brutal at the first event. A lot of teams went 1-3, Rich. Yep. You guys did really well. But the Saints were the only team that didn't win a game. Out of all 20 teams, the only team that didn't pick up a win.
Yep.
So they're sitting at 20th. They had to face down relegation. You know, there's 20 pro teams in the pro division. One team will get relegated. Last year was DMG down to the semi-pro division, and one team will come up. It was notorious. They had a real good first event for a rookie pro squad. They won a game.
They look good.
Their losses were only by 1 point mostly. They had 2-point losses as well, too. We'll see them this afternoon.
I heard they practiced well this last weekend as well.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of good things about Notorious. So, but as it stands, the Saints have an uphill climb. They're overall and currently in the framework of this game. 5:30 left on the clock. Aftermath up by 2.
Yeah, I like what Aftermath is doing here. They slow played the first 2 points, kind of dug them out, and now they've just got outside, spread the field, and they're complete control. I mean, it's going to be really tough for the Saints or any other team really at this point to push into them with a 2-point lead on this field.
It is looking like that, right? It's looking like this is going to be a tough field to crack if you go down by 2-3. When you start facing the impacts and the damages.
I was going to say damage on one side, impact on the other side. Could be a 1-point game.
It will force things to speed up, though, because when the games start to count. So if, let's just say, you know, whether it's impact or damage or whatever, when we get to that point, if you do go down by a couple, well, you're still going to have to push forward, right? So it's just, where are those moves going to come from? I think it's going to come through the center. The center is the safer spot if you're going to potentially try to attack because of the gaps that you were talking about earlier.
So the secret to the center, and we saw this illustrated really well in practice, we also saw it yesterday, is if you can get to the center and no one knows you're there, you can just shoot everybody and it's great. But if they know you're there, you end up getting run down and not getting anybody, and it's like, so now on such a crucial field where you're going 3 dominant, 1-1, it just gets scary.
Well, we just haven't seen the middle yet, but you know it's
coming.
A flow. It's a flow. It's a flow of the tactical progression, right? So if the guns are going outside, as they are right now, as that's where the action is flowing, then people are going to start finding a way to make moves up the center. But once that starts to work, then people are going to start putting more, you know, firepower and more bodies in those positions, and then that's going to open up the outside a little bit more. So we'll see. That's typically how it goes. Every field's a little bit different. Right now, though, the Saints in good spots again. It's just, what are you going to do when you get there? You know, I mean, getting to the 50, that's step one. What are you going to do once you're at that spot? How do you get crack through this line? Aftermath with a 2-point lead, just 3:45 to go. You know,
happy to win with 2 points.
Yeah, and that's when you're just, if you're the Saints, you're just going to see the tip of barrels and the edges of goggles, and that's about it.
Yeah, and this field's tough, Matty. I mean, the vision on this field is tough, so you really rely on the communication, and getting the communication from one tape to the other tape and back is very, very challenging, especially for a new up-and-coming team. Good communication there on the Saints. Calling Dorito side has the ball, which means it's the Dorito side's responsibility to push forward. That's probably a good call. They got 2 bodies over there. They've only got 1 over here in Snake side.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at Saints on the screen, right? So they have 2 bodies in real good position, and they need to get some forward progression up that D side. They try to do it and then get shots. Just trying to make that move into the next Dorito, end up taking the walk, and they still have 1 body up there. But the story is the same, man. Even though you just lost your first attacker, you still need to go. You're down by 2. There's not a lot of time left. You got to just put a guy in, try to make a move, hope he misses. Your other option is just sit there, let time expire, and take the loss anyway, and that's not an option.
That's not an option. It shouldn't be.
Margin is key, right? So, you know, when you're a team like the Saints and you're starting to take a loss, you can't just start running into guns this early in the tournament because you don't want to lose your first game by a big number, because then you need to put up a big number on a win to counteract that, to get back to, you know, even on the point margin. That's what I was thinking when you were talking about
the damage impact thing. I was like, depending on where they meet in the event.
That's what I'm talking about. On Sunday, it'll be more fun because then it doesn't matter. Margin doesn't mean anything. You got to go no matter what. Down to 2 minutes here on the clock, Rich. Still, situation's the same. Saints have been chilling in these 50s
just
here.
a blistering pace out here, man. Just the back and
Can
forth
barely keep
action.
up.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up. Bodies are leaving the field left and right. There's one Latin Saint player left alive. He's in the tower on the snake side. There are 4 or 5 Aftermath. Oh, no, there's two, I'm sorry. Saints with the redirect.
Well, it looks
that
like
was Kilo.
if things keep going this way, Rich, Aftermath could have put up a decent number here.
Yeah. Kilo making a good move across and outside, gets caught in the hopper. Aftermath losing their first player now, 4-on-1, I believe. Saints might want to concede this. Unless there's a guy up in the drill that I can't see for the Saints.
Yeah, unless they're thinking margin. You know, at this point, you might be content with a 3-point loss. Because if they concede, go back out and
Lose
do
another.
a full court press attack, and then you could definitely lose another. Then you go down by 4.
Well, and that's the nice thing for Aftermath. If you can go in with a 3-point lead, now you can play at a super aggressive point because you don't really care if you win that. I mean, obviously you want to win that point, but you're more testing like whether we can get away with it or not. Did you go to the place next to the hotel last night?
I did. It was delicious.
Did you get the fondue?
I did not.
Oh, bro, you blew it.
I know.
Yeah, so now Saints taking a walk on the D side, 1-on-4 situation for the Saints.
So
Saints player's not even shooting his gun. He's just sitting there trying to stay alive.
Rich, I really like the control we're seeing out of this young
Much more
Aftermath
mature
team.
than you would expect, huh?
Yeah, they're not making many mistakes at all. Couple here or there, but really this is a relatively flawless game for Aftermath.
And what I really, really like is I talked to Ramirez right before this game, and he called the first 3 points exactly how they just played.
Really?
He's like, we're gonna go out, we're gonna do pocket the first couple points, we get up on, we're gonna go outside, we're gonna get control. Just really smart, good coaching, and just good solid play from those guys.
Well, other than Grayson and maybe Missouri, they don't have a lot of guys with a ton of pro experience. Now, Ramirez has been with that camp for a while, right? And the brain trust of a team is so important, you know,
Yeah.
who's coaching. And so, yeah, I think it's great. You know, unfortunately for Ramirez, you know, he's not geared up. I mean, he's been a player on that squad for a while, but, you know, he's now just kind of just focusing on being that brain trust that
and
they
that's
need.
what good teammates do, right?
But that's cool that you're telling me, and he just called literally
Yeah, it was
exactly how
perfect,
the
dude.
game was going to go.
I was just smiling when I saw his third breakout. I'm like, good job, buddy. Way to put that together. And, you know, a lot of guys are just worried about that first point, right? They don't have 3 or 4 points planned out.
We're in the pits right now here with the Saints, and they do look dejected. They have 3 more games to go, so I do not like when we go to pits and you see 1,000-yard stares after the first game.
First match of the day.
Got some paintball to play out here, some more opportunities. Saints in every bracket's kind of tough, but Impact, X Factor, NRG, Aftermath, and the Saints in bracket C. Jumping back in here with now 4:20 to go as NRG Elite dropping a body early, and it's going to be Chewy. Betancourt taking the walk, so no offensive push on the Snake side. 5-on-4 situation here in favor of X Factor, and Rich looking like they're going back to doubling up that back center.
It's 5-on-4, Matt, but it's worse than it sounds because NRG has no one on this side of the field. And if X Factor just contains NRG in that tower in the back center and don't allow them to come this way, they've already won the point as long as they don't make any mistakes.
They get body up into the center brick. They get Colt Roberts out wide. He's feeling no pressure. He's about to get into the Snake.
And because NRG doesn't have a player in that wing to block the Snake, they can go all the way down and kill them all.
Well, NRG sent Betancourt over here, and everyone else is in a pretty defensive position. Down by 1 with 3:40 left to go. That's not the move right here. Ooh, they do get a kill on Colt Roberts, though.
So from the Snake corner, that came from the Dorito corner, Matt.
That's a tough death here for Colt.
Oh, Austin moved the wrong way when he moved Dorito side. Now there's 3 NRG players Dorito side, and the only one on this side of the field, the center tower, is looking Dorito as well. Bad read there for NRG.
Yeah, feeling the pinch. They dropped the body out the back corner bunker on the D side, so now down to 3. So even with the kill on Colt, still, it was even on the count for a while, but no, now it's back to an advantage for X Factor.
Watching NRG play this, it makes me wonder if they understand how to play this field.
Well, I like the play call of sending Billy in the middle, and then now here on the secondary attacks up on the D side, pushing the issue right now. X Factor looking real good, trying to close the door on NRG Elite. They lose Buffton, they lose Trowick, just Weaver left alive, and he gets peeled off as well too. So beautiful job, San Antonio X Factor from that D side.
Yeah, that was just a bad point there from NRG. They lost their first attacker on the Snake side with Betancourt, and then they just completely abandoned this side of the field. And when you have a field that 70% of the points are one side, you've got to have a lot of energy that way.
Yeah, it's within. I just like the play call. You know, I mean, one of the things with X Factor is they've become less predictable. They're moving Billy around a little bit, and then now they have both Cody and Parrish over on the D side. They both look kind of similar from far away, and then it does look like they're going with TJ Danner behind either Parrish or Cody. So. Yeah, So, yeah, nice job by Bayless. So, Parrish got the penalty. They put Bayless in, and then TJ's been solid over there. I mean, really, the only mistake in that one was Colt getting dinked out over here trying to get into the snake.
From that Dorito corner. And that Dorito corner is a little bit different than most teams practice it, so he just probably wasn't aware of it. Wow. Saints with a full court press, Matt. 2 guys to the 50, 3 guys to the 50, end up in the snake as well. They lose their snake guy. They lose 150 brick. Might be losing another one. So 2-on-5 advantage here. 3-on-5 advantage here for Aftermath.
Got to be careful not to get that major, right? Under 60 seconds, immediate point for the other team. Clean, though. Clean through, even though. So Saints not able to put one up on the board as Aftermath holding strong. There was only about 19 seconds left in this match. Final score will be 3-0. Aftermath with the shutout here. Nice start for Aftermath. Very calm, composed out there.
Big step for them. Big step for them.
Yeah, playing to the field. Not really making almost. Yeah, again, it was not a flawless game, but pretty close though, man. Pretty close.
Well, and I think like we were talking about, it's very mature coaching, right? A lot of guys look at, okay, hey, Saints are kind of soft. Let's see what we can get away with, right? So that when we play other teams, we can kind of. There was the opposite. Like, hey, let's not do anything sloppy. Let's not show anything we don't have to show. Let's just go out and play solid paintball.
Well, when you're, so the way the brackets work out, we have 20 teams, 10 move on. You'll have 2 from each division, the top 2 teams, and then 2 teams will catch a wild card. And then, oh, let's listen in real quick. Ooh.
Get him.
Ramirez.
Get him, Ramirez.
So we were just talking about how, not quite a perfect game. Looked like it on the score, but I like this. He comes from a hardcore legacy of intense coaching, so even though they just pitched a shutout, he still was saying we still had a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, it's important to be critical, right? Even when you're doing well, because you have to constantly improve and evolve. If you don't, everyone's going to pass you up.
Well, and also, what are we expecting to do? If Aftermath's out just coming expecting to, we're on a rebuild, we're just trying to show some improvement.
Trying to have some fun.
But if they want to win, if they want to make a Sunday and be, a top 10 team.
You better shut out the Saints.
Yeah, then you need to, so that's what I was going to say. So when you're looking at the brackets, the Saints are the lowest ranked team. You're for your Aftermath, so it's the bottom 2 teams. Aftermath, best case scenario is what just happened, right? You pitch a shutout, you put up a +3, because every game is going to get harder from here on out. Now, it's the same thing with the Saints, right? Technically, on paper, every game that they have is going to be more difficult because you're playing higher-ranked teams. Again, NRG, X Factor, and Impact in this division. So that's still just a great start for X Factor. Jumping back into this one, 2:39 left to go here, and a 2-point lead.
X Factor gets out on the D side, Maddie. They got 4 in the pocket, and then either Cody or LJ gets out to that baby Dorito. Tom Guest filling up the tower in the center. They're X Factor now doubling up that tower. He can use his height to shoot down and keep energy out of the snake, as well as the other guy can shoot the cut across field and keep him out of the Dorito side. There's 2 minutes left, Matt, and NRG is down by 2, and it looks like they're just going to concede this game because there's 5 guys in the pocket. They're not going anywhere.
Margin, right?
Yeah.
Because NRG's they made Sunday at the first event. Took 10th, but still, so they're a team that can make Sundays.
He's hit on his hopper.
They cannot let the margin get away from them.
Man, referee's sleeping a little bit out there.
Yeah, it's a penalty going to be assessed on Trowick.
That's a good penalty because he gets shot in the back center and then filled out to that can. 5-on-4 here advantage for X Factor as they release up the center of the field. NRG now finally getting outside on the snake side. As they do that, Bowen gets shot out of the, Boffman gets shot out of the back center. NRG dropping another body. Yeah, this is getting away from him pretty quickly here. Yeah, I think their breakout was a little too conservative. They got caught in that pocket. X Factor got outside on both tapes and just completely controlled after the break.
Yeah, great play call. A little bit of a risk, even with up points. And it pays off for them. They trapped NRG Elite, like Rich was saying, in the pocket, got a couple kills, a little gift of a penalty.
Yep.
And then immediately took advantage of it in the 5-on-3, ran down, shot the last bodies, and now they're just going to post up. Going to check, make sure that Jesse Stevens is clean before he hits the buzzer.
Ryan Brand's over there signaling, hit the buzzer, hit the buzzer, hit the buzzer. We want to score more points, hit the buzzer. And they're like, no, we're not going to pay attention.
Ryan's like, hit the buzzer. Dixon also.
He's like, do we have a sign for hit the buzzer? If we do, would it look like this? Guys on this field are like, yeah, we're not doing that. We're just going to stand here. We don't care about you guys. You're stupid.
And win this they're not 3. Listening. They're like, no, we got this W.
Yeah, NRG
here.
Doesn't want to lose another point, right?
Because NRG Elite's probably like, hey, we're cool with it.
Yeah,
we'll take this loss.
Lose by 2 or 3, then lose by 4.
Yeah.
Ryan's now walking down to their side of the field. I said hit the buzzer. You know what Ryan should do here to teach him a lesson? He should concede the point. Like, you made me concede that point. I hope you're happy.
Well, coming up next, going to be the Bears and the ML Kings. Interesting story there. And then Columbus Level and the Ironmen. Both Columbus Level and the Ironmen did not have great showings at the first event. So looking to pick it up here. Bears look pretty decent at the first event.
Bears look real good.
ML Kings are going through a little bit of a rebuild. So it's going to be 4 seconds. I'm assuming they're going to burn that off. Yeah, so Ryan's going to talk to Jason. Yeah, assuming they're just going to burn that off.
Remember the old days where you couldn't signal from the box to hit the buzzer?
Oh, look at this, Grayson Goff. We are in Austin, so old school legend. Helped put X Factor on the map a decade ago. Coming out to help the boys. He's the guy that started BKI Paintball and was one of the best kids in Texas. So it's a cool documentary about the rise of X Factor and how hardcore Texas paintball has been throughout the generations. There's Jesse Stevens, got a smile on his face too. Good to see him back.
I love that it's on Amazon too. Like, I was just cruising through Amazon and it's like BKI. I'm like, what, paintball? What? This is amazing.
So that is going to do it. Pretty happy X Factor and a happy Aftermath. Taking the victory here in game number 1. Coming up, though, Brooklyn Bears taking on the ML Kings. Columbus Level taking on the Los Angeles Ironmen here at 2023 Lone Star Major, second event of the NXL season. I'm Matty Marshall here on Go Sports, and I'll see you in just a few.